Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So, .NET 10 is released. It's been around 11-12 days now, and the dust has settled. So, I just wanted to wait and watch how people react to this new Microsoft release. So, if you haven't caught up or just wanted an opinion on it, keep watching because this is what we are going to do in this video. So, with this context set, let's get into the video and look at the release. Alright folks, so this is the official release blog of Microsoft that declares that .NET 10 has been released on 11th November 2025. And I really like the 39 reactions that we have on it so far. This is the kind of reaction I get on my video, even lesser than that. Okay, so .NET 10 is an LTS release for 3 years. So LTS releases are supported for 3 years. Alright, so the Microsoft will end the support for this .NET 10 on November 10, 2028. All right. And then as we come down, the very first thing or the very first beautiful picture that we see is of a video that says welcome to .NET 10 and Visual Studio 2026. Now that surprised me a little bit. I thought C# 14 was the elephant in the room, but here I expected, but here I see that Visual Studio 2026 is the big fat elephant here. Okay, pretty cool. So now 2026 has come with some major improvements. I would totally agree to it. But yes, C# 14 should have been also mentioned on the very first glance of this blog. But nevertheless, let's continue forward. All right, so next up is some other features: unparalleled performance, faster apps and lower memory, some JID compiler enhancement. All right, and then we have got finally C# 14 and F# 10. All right, so I'm not really an F# guy, but feel free to go through it. So let's understand what is C# 14 giving us now. All right, so until C# 14 came in, we always have to create a backing field whenever we created a public property. All right, now that backing field was just to babysit a few things here and there, but with field keyword, they are saying that you can get rid of that babysitting property or the backing field that you used to babysit. All right, but is this going to break anything? Oh yes, it is. So if you already have a field property in your code, that is probably going to break because as per Microsoft, this is the backing field that is automatically been given to you. So if you have a field property already, you will have to rename it or refactor some of the code over there. But otherwise, it's a nice quick shortcut and reduces our boilerplate code. Next up is the extension properties and methods. All right. So I really didn't had any problem using the existing format with extension methods. I also, never really envisioned or imagined that, if there would have been a better syntax with extension properties or methods, I would feel good about it. But nevertheless, Microsoft has given it. The only problem or the only work that I'll have to do is I'll have to remember it. I'll have to get used to this syntax, and instead of using extension methods, I will have to get into this habit of using extension properties now. So we'll look at a quick code how this helps us. So this over here is my extension block, and this list of int over here is my receiver. Okay, and inside that block, this public int sum over here is an extension property being added to the list of int over here. All right, and this @this is just a name of the receiver. Cool. So now once you have done this much, this is how you actually create the new extension property. Once you have done this, what you could do essentially is just use your list and call the dot sum property over here and not the method. So this is a very quick thing of how you can actually use the new extension method. So let's move forward now. Now there is one more thing. It says first class span T convergence. All right, now this is good, but it might also break a few things, but this is good, I believe. And we'll look at a quick code again over here. So now what this span being a first class citizen actually means. So earlier, when you didn't had the span as a first class citizen, what you would instead do is you would create one overload that takes in the read-only span of some integer. Or if you wanted an array, you would do this, or if you wanted a list, you would do this, or you would do this for a list. Alright. But now you can just do this. You just make one sum function that takes in a read-only span of integer values, and then when you want to call it with different things, how do you do it? Let's say your array was this much, you make it a span, and then you can just pass in whether your array or your span to the sum method over here. So that means smaller APIs to design, maintain and read code, and even that is easier for the callers because they just have to pass one thing at a time. Alright, so no overloads now. And then we have got F sharp 10 highlights. You can go through it, and then some .NET libraries, secure and modern APIs. Okay, why secure? So I'm pretty sure you must be knowing that in October of this year, Microsoft had to release an emergency patch for a security vulnerability that got exposed and someone exploited it. And so on this blog, you would see that secure has been mentioned quite a few times. All right. So let's move forward, and then we get this WebSocket streaming support. All right. So, with more AIs and more LLMs coming in, every time you talk to it, the response you are receiving is actually over a streaming setup, right? So, Microsoft has gone into this mode of making things more native when you are talking to an AI kind of thing. So, APIs, WebSocket API, that's easier to use and more efficient. All right. Now, this is another big thing, Aspire. All right. Now, those people who have already been working with Aspire, they knew, or they would already be knowing that until now it was .NET Aspire, right? But with this, Aspire is no more .NET Aspire. Aspire is just Aspire. It is being shipped along with .NET 10. But Aspire is a standalone entity, very capable of a polyglot development kind of thing. Even if you go to this official documentation of Aspire, you will see that uh, you will see that Python and Go and TypeScript, all these languages are supported, and in that list you will see C sharp 14 or C sharp has been the last language that they have mentioned. Cool. Now artificial intelligence. Now this again is a very artificial intelligence or AI related things are a big part of this release. And one thing I really liked about it, that of course you can build multi-agent system, you can use multiple agents and all those things. But there is one specific that think that I really liked, that is with the MCP. Now, Microsoft has started giving this ability where you could publish MCP servers, you could create MCP server, make a NuGet out of it and deploy it on the NuGet server. So let's say you work in an organization that has got a very beautiful documentation, a very detailed one, okay, and then you have made an MCP server that could query out of that documentation, and you want to distribute it. Now you can create a package, you can create a NuGet package, deploy it onto your organization's NuGet server so that other people could use it and get the exact information that they want. Now this is something good. I really liked it and it's pretty cool. All right, so MCPs enables AI agents to do all of these things and we know it. Next up is the ASP.NET Core, our favorite. All right, so again, secure. Cool, so we know why secure. All right, and then there is some Blazor, some improvements over there, and then build faster and modern APIs along with OpenAPI 3.1 documentation support. So now all the documentation that you were generating, all the APIs that you were writing, they'll be following OpenAPI 3.1 documentation, which includes supports for latest JSON schema draft. This improves the representation of types, such as using an array for nullable types instead of a custom property. So OpenAPI 3.1 is now being started to get supported. All right. And now some enhanced observability and diagnostics, some better Blazor tracing, Blazor WebAssembly diagnostic tools, and some new built-in metrics. All right. .NET MAUI. Now we know that in this year 2025, Microsoft really laid off quite a number of their employees, and most of them were from .NET MAUI team. So I didn't really anticipated this, that .NET MAUI will have a full-blown page. You see, all this much of data. All this much of improvements. That is really commendable. All right, nice. Let's see. So what the thing that I could relate to really quickly was this global and implicit XML namespaces. Now, so far in a XAML page, every time you created a new XAML page, you will get all of these namespaces over there. And also, if you were to bring in a converter or some behavior or some view model from any other place, you will have to include the namespaces for each and every view. But now you could do it at a central place called global.xmlns.cs. Now, this is quite a standard way, and we already have moved to an era where things are getting centralized or maybe decentralized also. But as far as the NuGet packages go, I see they have started giving us this new centralized dependency, kind of thing, where we mention all our NuGet packages and it is all maintained from there. On a very similar lines, even for the XAML pages, we could have a common place where we could mention our namespaces and they could be accessible globally. So this is nice. So if earlier you were writing this much, now you will just be writing this much. Cool. Thank you, Microsoft. All right, and then we have got NED Framework 10, some advanced data access, and there is also a very beautiful improvement that they have brought to LinkQ queries. So left join and right join support. Now these things have become first class support for .NET's 10 new LinkQ join operators for simple outer join queries. All right. So if you have been writing LinkQ queries to figure out left and right join, you would use this default keyword over there, and that would tell us, okay, if the left table is, if a value is not found in a left table, then you return this default in order to symbolize a left join, and the same for right, right? But with this, things will change. You would get some native support for left and right join. I'm yet to experience this, so fingers crossed. I hope it is good. All right, what next? Now some Windows development, quite a short, maybe 5-6 lines over here, and some improvements or some highlights for that also. Now the elephant in the room is addressed, and if you look at the amount, it's more than a page. So it says Visual Studio 2026 enhanced performance and AI powered development. Now AI powered development has been the crucial part of this .NET 10 release. Now, apart from all of these other things, what I liked most was this chart rendering feature and the code coverage thing. Now, let us say you have got a huge code base and then there are a couple of new folks who have joined your team and you want to display the code flow to them. Now, you can go to your Copilot chat and ask the agent to create a visual diagram, a flowchart diagram for your code base. You can then, it will give you a set of instructions, an XML kind of file, and you can then, just go to Mermaid, copy that over there, matter over there, and you will get a very beautiful diagram, a flowchart that will actually display how the code is flowing across different projects or across different files or across different classes. So that's cool. And then this code coverage. Now, if you know that the built-in code coverage was just supported in the enterprise editions of Visual Studio, but with this 2026, we start getting code coverage even in the professional edition also. So that's a good thing. Thank you, Microsoft. Thank you for paying you so much, and then you have finally thought of giving us the code coverage also in the professional. Thank you. All right, so GitHub Copilot, your AI pair programmer. All right, and then C# Dev Kit for Visual Studio Code. So please don't forget to update your C# Dev Kit extension in VS Code. And then this NuGet Enhanced Security and Productivity MCP support. All right, and then we finally get this .NET 10 long-term support. Right, so this is a 3-year support. It is a LTS release, and I don't really understand the concept of why they want to make a standard term support and a long term support kind of things. But what I learned over here is quite a new thing. Well, all odd numbers release are standard term support, whereas all even number releases are long term support. Well, at least something new. Cool. But I wonder for you, what do you think about this release? Was there something that you anticipated and it didn't happen, and you would expect it to happen in .NET 11? Please leave your comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to my channel for more such videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.